आपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणाम् आकृतिं स्मरेतेन विघ्नं प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धन्ति च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीं तनोतु नितरामितरानपेक्षमङ्घ्रिद्वयं निगमशाकिष्का प्रवालं हैरम्बमम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिग्रं विघ्नाद्रिभेदशतधारधरन्धरन् सर्वेषां स्वागतं. This is the Bhāvārtha session for the 13th verse of the Rama Gita. So the continuation of the Jnana Karma Samuchayavada. This is the objection that has been stated to Rama's theory that only Jnana leads to liberation. For that there is objection, and Rama is now quoting the Purva Pakshavada. That's all. Yes, whatever the Purva Pakshavadins, their argument is, he is just rephrasing it. That's all. He has not started a rebuttal to it. So here when we go to the 13th, there we had a bit of a disconnect because the last two verses lead to the 13th or the 13th verses argument is where it gets complete, so it gets cut off. So we will start from that line itself. So the line in the 12th verse, it starts off with karma kritau dosham apis shrutir jagau tasmat sada karyam idam mumukshuna. This ends the first thought of the argument, that because the Vedas which mention the Jnana Kanda also mention the Karma Kanda, and the the karmas are important for attainment of Purushartha, and because every living being, Pranabhrata, every living being which has prana has to, it is the kartavyata of that living being to do the Veda Kriyas, Vaidika Kriyas. Therefore, we have to assume, or rather conclude, that these Kriyas are helpful or complementary in attaining the true knowledge, and not doing these Kriyas will lead to incur of sin as per the Shruti Pramanas. This has been stated in the Shruti Pramanas. Therefore, Mumukshuna, seeker of moksha, must always do the Kriyas. This is the first part of the Purva Paksha, so Jnana Karma Samuchaya. They continue. If we think, Nanuswatantra Dhruvakarya Karini, if we think that Vidya Eva Swatantraha and Dhruvakarya Karini, in what? In attaining liberation, and Nakinchit, not even a little bit, even the thought of karma, kriya, apeksha is needed for the attainment of moksha, then we come to the 13th shloka. Na satyakaryopi hi yadvadadhvarah prakangshate jnanapi karakadikan tathaiva vidya vidhitah prakashitaihi vishishyate karmabhireva muktaye. न सत्यकार्योऽपि हि यद्वदध्वरः प्रकाङ्क्षते ज्ञानपि कारकादिकान् तथैव विद्या विधितः प्रकाशितैः विशिष्यते कर्मभिरेव मुक्तये. So then the scriptures have even cautioned that by not doing karma, one will incur sin. Therefore, the seeker of liberation must always perform his karmas. But in case that is Nanuswatantra Dhruvakar, in case you say that Vidya itself is Swatantra and it is capable of giving us the moksha, and there is not even the thought of kriya is also not required, then nasatya, it is not so. Then satyakarya, then nasatyakarya apihi yadvadadhvaraha, na satyakarya apihi yadvat adhvaraha. adhvaraha prakangshate anyan, anyan, other, anyat, api karakadikan. So they are saying there, the rebuttal goes like this. If you think that vidya itself is enough and there is no requirement for karma at all, then that is not the case. When the satkarya happens, when satyakarya happens, for that satyakarya, here the Vaidika kriyas, Havan and all those things. When the satyakarya is happening, here what happens is, Adhvaraha is the Vaidika ritual. Satyakarya is something that gives us the right result. Satkaravada, there is one in Sankhya. So something that gives result. For that, what happens in that particular kind of scenario, which has some merits, which has some true merits, those kind of adhvaraha, that here the indication is the yajnas, Somayaga, the different kinds of yagas are there, those kind of yagas. So basically, zeroing on the Vaidika kriyas itself. So adhvaraha, yadvat adhvaraha. So they started off with the last two lines saying that if you think that vidya itself is capable, independent of granting moksha, liberation, and there is no need for even the thought of kriya, then that is wrong. How do you say it is wrong? Because for every satkarya, that means for every merit, for every adhvaraha, for every Vaidika kriya, what happens is that the Vedic rituals, though those kind of Vaidika rituals have merit in them, they depend on not just one thing. What is that one thing? They don't just depend on the doer. Prakangshate, anyan, prakangshate, anyan api karakadikan, karaka. Something is the karaka and then it leads to something. Karaka is the cause. Karya is the effect. So, karakadikan, like any satkarya, like any Vaidika ritual, which cannot be performed by one element, but requires many other elements. Anyan api karakadikan. You only, if the acharya comes and sits, the person or the adhikari comes and sits, bhavituhu, bhavaituhu, whatever, even without one person, the yajna cannot get completed. There has to be everything. There has to be havis, there has to be samit, there has to be agni, there has to be the adhikari, there has to be the acharya. We need everything. These are all elements to that satkarya, to the Vaidika yajna. Like in the same way, there is an in the way that when we perform a satkarya, there is expectation of prakangshate anyani api karakadikan. Like we have requirement for so many different elements, tathaiva vidya vidhitah prakashitaihi. In the same way, the vidya, so in the path of knowledge also becomes capable of giving liberation. That means vidya is the path to liberation. No, they said that it is complementary. Kriya is complementary to vidya. They are trying to prove it, saying that by giving an analogy that, like in any satkarya, even though the most important person who enjoys the karma phala is the doer, that is the adhikari, and the person who is instrumental is him alone cannot do the yajna, because for him to do the yajna, there is also a person who becomes the medium of instruction. Also, he has different other requirements, elemental requirements to the yajna, like the samit, like the ghee, all those things. In the same way, while jnana is the main path, jnana alone without the help of karma is incapable of granting liberation. Tathaiva, in the same way as we perform the yajna, we need all these elements. Tathaiva vidya vidhitaha prakashitaihi. Whatever the vidya promises, what does vidya promise? The path to liberation. That vidhitaha, whatever has been said that vidya will provide, that will only be provided through the karmas, becomes capable. That means vidya becomes capable of giving us moksha through, it becomes prakashitaihi, it becomes um, prakashitaihi becomes not revealed. The path becomes illuminated, becomes more clear, capable. It becomes capable of giving moksha when it is done along with karmas. Karmabhihi, when it is along with the karmas, when it is done along with, that is when attainment of jnana is done along with the karmas, then it becomes capable, of providing moksha, muktaye. Only then we can attain moksha. So this is the final argument of Jnana Karma Samuchayavada, saying that while we say that Jnana, the path of Jnana is the true path to liberation, it alone is not capable of taking us to that destination, because like we do our satkaryas, like we do our yajnas, and during that yajnas, there are so many elements involved. A doer alone is not involved. Anyani api karakadikan apekshitam. Tathaiva vidya api vishishyate karma bhihi. With the karmas, when the knowledge is attained, then it gets the power to give us the moksha. This is what the argument is. So here they have complete, Rama is rephrasing the objection that usually people take to this vada. The vada that karma, kriya has to be given up. So for that there is an objection, and he has repeated, paraphrased that vada. That vada is called as Jnana Karma Samuchaya Vada. That Jnana Karma Samuchaya Vada has been stated over. So with this, he ends the rephrasal. That is Purva Paksha, this thing, presentation of Purva Paksha, the vada. Next, he will start with his rebuttal for this vada. So with this, we end the Bhāvārtha session of the 13th shloka. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्य प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।